Well, arrogant fools are being created, and I despise that because that means they'll take a very long time before they face the punishment they deserve. Eden Zero, Chapter 240, and it's me, the Angry and Offended, as well reviewer. Although I only review Eden Zero till it's finished. Last time we discovered that the Zenolith actually was still good in this universe Zero, and now he inhabits the body of Mimi. As it turns out, Mimi is not erased. It's merely that fact that Zenolith is borrowing Mimi's body. Of course, Aruna has a very hard time knowing that, so Rebecca decides to play with her on the side while Zenolith explains what is happening. And he is also the same thing. He says the same thing he did in the previous universes. A machine that was a human many years ago, and then for some reason became a robot. And then we explain what happened in Foresta. And strangely enough, it happened exactly the same as in the previous universe. The robots went insane and massacred a lot of humans there. And and it was Muller who was responsible for that. Almost exactly as how it was previous universe. Granted, that virus was created by Siggy 1, so or Dark Siggy, let's just call him Dark Siggy. And Muller was then stationed here, but in this universe it was created by Muller, who wanted to test to see if there was any robot who could, well, withstand it. So Zenolith went and confronted Muller, who, as we all discovered, is exactly the same twisted guy he was in this universe as he was in the previous one, making him one of the few irredeemable villains in the previous universe, who is just as much as an irredeemable villain in this universe, even talking nonsense still that about robots. But it's also the fact that he could go behind Shura's back because Shura is still a pleasure seeker, implying that despite Shura apparently appearing to be a lot kinder than he is in this universe, he is still not exactly a good ruler per se. But then it's revealed that Muller was indeed in cahoots with Void, who, and the reason why he's doing this is for the Age of Void, the mechanical king who will rule the universe, infinite wealth, infinite resources, infinite power. That's how Muller described Void, and how Void has super androids, the Dark Star, and is currently selecting 6 androids for the Russian Seis Galactica. And then begins to rant about some strange things about 4 and 6 together. They make 10, 1 and 0, which is according to him a beautiful number. And then even proclaiming that then is it true that the world is made up of nothing but zeros and ones, implying again that there is some may actually be aware of the universes of Zero. But it is also pretty interesting the fact that, as Muller here says, 1 and 10, which is 10, 1 and 0, and 10, which he says in a 1 and 0, it creates the perfect image of the Eden's 1 and the Eden's 0, even which points this out. That's not a coincidence. And Muller proclaims that Void will use one of them to use an ultimate android that Muller intends to construct. The reason why he created this virus and spent everything around Foresta was to find a robot that could actually withstand his virus. And Zenolith was the only one who could. So he trapped him in the EMP without doing things, and then stole a copy of his robot body and his gravity power, and then created a copy of Zenolith. But Zenolith's original body was still there, but he had lost his ether gear, although I don't exactly know how to do it, and he was getting weaker. But then he found Aruna and beamed into... he found Mimi and then beamed his consciousness into Mimi, where Aruna found Mimi, and then they evacuated. So all in all, that the Cenolith that destroyed Foresta was not the original Cenolith, that was Muller. And then everybody begins to mention about many different things, saying that the tip that Muller gave them, that Cenolith was on Sandra, was true, but that was because they hoped that they would crush Cenolith and his tiny robots. So, and then begins to many dialogues about the fake and real one and all that stuff. So, but it all comes back to Void. But Shura decides to believe what Cenolith is saying, because he is in an adorable little robot. And the fact that Fabio also hired Muller is kind of weird. But once again, Yuna puts Shura in his place by saying that who's the emperor who never paid attention to his human resources? Again, Shura is not apparently as twisted this universe as he is in the previous universes, but he still appears to be a bit of a lazy bum. So now they're going back to the temple. So Laguna suggests a truce, although Shura says they were never really at war. But although Goodwin says that spoiled rich little kid cannot run a government. So Shiki once again asks, can we be friends? But Shura rejects him, all the while saying, sorry, I got enough friends. You take care of your own bodies too. I guess that is in his own way of saying, sorry, but maybe another time. So now, what will they do now? Their goal was to find Laguna, and they found Laguna. But now everything has become more problematic in the problems. So Shiki says that they cannot abandon Cenolith. So what are they gonna do? Build him a new body and beam him into that one? Or are we actually going to get some secrets about the four Knights of Heaven Sakura? No, I don't really know. But it's apparently so that maybe the Nero Empire will collapse this universe too, because Muller is actually in Planet 1, the temple, where he has constructed his new body and gets new orders from Void, who calls him Cenolith. But now Muller says that, call me Muller, the result of chemical fusion. And so we see the first real poster of the new Oracion Seis Galactica. Cenolith remained to Muller. And in this form, Muller is a lot bulkier than before. He still has his ugly face, just as he did in the previous universes. But Muller of the Oracion Seis Galactica is now here. He apparently has the gravity ether gear of Cenolith, and he is in the planet Nero, the Temple, which probably means that he's going to crush it just like this. And now Void is contacting him with a plan. The story is moving along. But what can the gang do with, helping Cenolith? Is the fact that, but it appears that in this universe, Cenolith has also met Siggy, because Shiki mentions that he learned it from Siggy, and that explains it, says Cenolith. But that would make sense as well. So yeah, a lot of things explained in here. But Cenolith is a good guy, and Muller is one of the few people who are irredeemably bad in every single universe he is. And this time, arguably, he's even more dangerous than he was before. And he was already dangerous before. But now, oh my god, he's actually dangerously powerful. And he wasn't connected with Void even before becoming a robot. I wonder how Void would allow that. Granted, we may now see some things more. But I do not think the Empire will survive that assault. But what will happen now? Will they really help Cenolith? Give me your thoughts if you have any.